Dhaka University, DU, the oldest university in Bangladesh, is holding its 53rd convocation on Saturday amid festive mood with the participation of 30,348 graduates and researchers on its campus in the city. Nobel laureate French economist Dr. Jean Tirole attended the program as a convocation speaker. The largest number of graduates in the history of the university are participating in this convocation. President Abdul Hamid, also the Chancellor of the university, will preside over the gala event at the central playground where affiliated 7 colleges are participating in the convocation ceremony from 2 venues, Dhaka College and Eden Mohila College, through video conference. Well, Nobel laureate French economist Dr. Jean Tirole giving his convocation speech. We are now taking you to live there.
I speak by the fact that economics is a moral and philosophical science. I was enchanted when I discovered that economics, a positive and normative field, offer both a window on our society and the opportunity to contribute to decision-making in the public and private sector. Its purpose is to analyze situations in which individual interest is in conflict with the general interest and to design policies that align these individual interests so that they work for the common good. The field of economics studies situations in which the market institution, an otherwise wonderful instrument to allocate scarce resources, fail. Indeed, we do not always pursue the common good unless we are held accountable for the consequences of our acts. For example, we exert externalities as when we over-emit greenhouse gases, over-consume antibiotics, or refuse vaccines. Sometimes we don't even stand for our own best interest, self-interest, as when we take drugs, we smoke too much, we eat too much sugar and salt, or we undersave for lean periods. There are many other types of market failures. Others include the market power exerted by dominant corporations, inequality. There is no reason why the distribution of income and wealth beyond the veil of ignorance, imagining what kind of society we would like to live in, will be the right one under a market economy. Excessive risk-taking by financial institutions, and so on and so forth. So it's the role of the state, actually, to correct these market failures and work for the common good. But sometimes the state goes against the common good. For example, by passing on to future generations global warming, which, as you know too well in Bangladesh, is an existential threat on us, public debt, hunger, inequality, unemployment, or an educational system that is not always up to the task. The economist's duty is not to throw the stone at politicians. How will they do? How will we do if we were the politicians? And will stone throwing bolster democracy? The economist's duty instead is to design solutions and to be the advocate for the long term when the political pressure reduces the horizon of politics. So I've told you how and why I became an economist. Fast forward. A little over 8 years ago, the Royal Swedish Academy calls me with some rather outstanding news. Actually, I didn't answer at first. I was in a meeting with a colleague, and I was not expecting a call, so I basically let the phone ring and ring and ring. And then the colleague told me, why don't you pick up the phone? And, that was the beginning of an adventure which has partly changed my life. By the way, I believe that today marks a similar change for all of you graduates. You may not think about it like this right now, but in a few years' time, you may look back to your years spent here at the University of Dhaka. What did change in my life? Not my passion for research. I still wake up every morning looking forward to collaborating with faculty and students on new projects, but a different sense of duty, that of sharing with a wider audience my passion for my discipline, economics. Before the Nobel, I spoke to experts, economists and experts in ministries, regulatory authorities, central banks, companies, and the Nobel was some kind of tipping point. I met quite a number of people, including in the street, anonymous people who wanted to know about economics. They wanted to know whether economics is useful, whether it's a science, whether the key challenges we face today can be solved. And then I realized that economics is like any culture, for example, music or literature or sports. The more you like it more, the better you understand it. We all have the ability to understand economics, but for that we must be acquainted with it. And a democracy cannot function properly unless, if only experts have access to knowledge.